Housing affordability. You see it everywhere, right? It's all over the headlines. It's what everyone's talking about. We hear a lot about the numbers, the interest rates, the tough market. But today, we're going to talk about a different kind of cost, one that's often hiding in the shadows but can be absolutely devastating. So let's start with a really basic question.
When you hear that word affordable, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it just that big number on the listing? The monthly mortgage payment you're staring at? It seems like a simple question, but the real answer, well, it's a lot more complicated.
I mean, these are the usual suspects, right? The things we always hear about. Of course, you've got mortgage rates, that's a huge one. Then there's the whole housing supply issue, the crazy cost of construction these days, and all those local zoning rules that can jack up prices. And yeah, these are all absolutely critical pieces of the affordability puzzle. But what if the entire affordability debate is missing something huge? A hidden risk that can take that dream of owning a home and turn it into an absolute nightmare, no matter what your mortgage rate is.
So here's how we're going to break it all down in this explainer. First, we'll look beyond just the numbers. Then we'll uncover this hidden threat of fraud. We'll get into the real cost of that nightmare, talk about the protections we all kind of take for granted, and finally, we'll tie it all together to show why real protection is affordability.
All right, so first up, let's reframe how we even think about affordability. Because true affordability isn't just about what looks good on a spreadsheet. It's about security. It has to include protection from the kind of risks that could completely wipe you out financially. And speaking of risk, that leads us right to the heart of the matter, the hidden threat of real estate fraud. And let me be clear, this isn't some tiny fringe problem. We're talking about a major target for some really sophisticated criminals, and their schemes are getting more advanced all the time.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, real estate fraud is a catch-all term for some really nasty stuff. Imagine someone tricking you into wiring your entire down payment to their account, or someone literally stealing a seller's identity to sell a house they don't even own. We're even seeing criminals use forged deeds to try and claim ownership of a property that belongs to someone else.
The scale here is just staggering. In 2024 alone, the FBI reported nearly $175 million in losses just from this type of fraud. But here's the kicker, that huge number, it's probably way lower than the real figure.
Yeah, because a number like that can't possibly capture the real human toll. It doesn't show the endless hours people spend fighting in court, the legal bills piling up, or just the pure emotional stress of finding out your life savings have been stolen. You just can't put a price on that.
Okay, so let's zoom in from that big national number and see how this nightmare plays out for real people. This is where that American dream can just shatter in an instant.
Look, for most of us, buying a home is, well, it's the biggest financial leap we'll ever take, right? It's more than just a transaction. It's the foundation of our financial lives. It's about stability, security, and the future you're trying to build. Now, imagine getting hit with a loss of this size, $143,000. That's the average fraud claim. For a lot of people, that's their entire life savings, just gone, because of a crime they never even saw coming.
And believe it or not, it gets worse. If you're already a homeowner and you're just trying to refinance, the average claim jumps to a mind-blowing $207,000. These aren't just bumps in the road, they're life-altering, catastrophic events.
So you're probably thinking, with risks this high, how on earth do we even protect ourselves? Well, that's where this kind of invisible infrastructure comes in. All these safeguards working behind the scenes on every single closing to protect our investment.
A huge piece of this puzzle is the work that title professionals do. Long before you get the keys to your new home, they are digging deep, combing through complex property records, hunting for any hidden risks to your ownership, and working to shut down fraud before a deal ever closes.
And you know, the goal behind all this work is incredibly simple, but so important. When you buy a home, you should actually own it. That's it. No hidden surprises, no old legal claims popping up out of nowhere years later. You should own it free and clear.
But look, even the most thorough experts can't catch everything, especially when criminals get this sophisticated. And that's exactly where title insurance comes in. Think of it as the final, crucial safety net that provides coverage for these kinds of advanced fraud risks that are almost impossible to spot otherwise. Okay, so this all leads us to the big takeaway here, and it's really important. We have to stop thinking of these safeguards as some kind of optional extra or a side issue. They are a core part of what makes a home truly affordable.
I mean, just think it through. If you start weakening these protections, where does all that risk go? It doesn't just vanish, it lands squarely on the shoulders of homebuyers. And when there's more risk in the market,
lenders get nervous. They start to tighten up credit, they raise interest rates for everybody, and it's often first-time buyers who get hit the hardest.
So you see, it's not a choice between getting an affordable home or a protected one. That's a totally false choice. The real goal, the only way this whole system works for everyone, is to have affordability and protection. They have to go hand in hand.
So, what's the solution? We need to strengthen what you might call the guardrails of the system. These are the protections that make sure real estate deals can happen safely and smoothly, so that families can buy a home without worrying they'll be blindsided by criminals.
Because at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. You can't say you're protecting the American dream if you're not actually protecting the people who are out there working their tails off to achieve it.
And that leaves us with one final question to chew on. After all this, can we really call a home affordable if the single biggest investment of your life isn't safe from being stolen right out from under you? Something to think about.